Preparing to live stream the meeting. Setting up your meeting for YouTube Live. Done. Redirecting. Okay, hello. Today we're going to talk about abscesses. We're going to talk about how horses abscess. We're going to talk about a horse by the name of Red Star who has had a lot of problems with abscesses, and his owner who wants to remain anonymous. On the internet, I know them. They're wonderful, but they don't want their name on the internet, and I don't blame them at all. So,
A total of 10 abscesses,
total
one
of
in the right front, two
uh-huh,
in the left hind, 8 in the right hind.
okay, total of 10 abscesses. Okay, I got to do a new share here. Well, just a minute. I got to find his foot and then share. Okay, so here we have a picture of so you said, hopefully I won't say your name. Well, I won't say your last name. Um, anyway, it's going to be hard not to say your name, your first name, but I'll try not to, okay? Anyway, this is Red Star's foot, and he's had a total of how many abscesses now again? Right,
10 total,
10,
but 8 in the right hind.
8 in the right hind. Now,
Yep.
the reason I believe this is so is because first of all, we're going to talk about how does a horse get an abscess. Um, and to understand that, you have to understand that you're dealing with two objects, not just one. It is commonly believed that this hoof you see here is the foot. Well, this isn't the foot. This is just the shoe, self-grown shoe on a real foot that is in there. And that foot is composed of bone, cartilage, and soft tissues covered with skin. It has a skin covering. And 1/3 of that foot is bone, but 2/3 of that foot that is covered with skin along with the bone is uh, is soft cartilage, fat, soft tissues. And so we know, the best way to understand what a horse's foot is like is to compare it with your nose. I used to compare it with your ear because how you can bend your ear down, the cartilage, and then when you let it go, it flips right back up to where it's supposed to be. Well, these horses' feet, the best part of your body to compare a horse's foot with is your nose. Um, because everything that's on your nose is basically on the horse's foot. That's inside. We're not talking about the capsule that we're looking at here. We're talking about the inside of the foot. Your nose is composed of different parts. It has a bone, there's some bone there, and the rest is cartilage. It also has a fat pad right in the end of it that is composed of adipose tissue. That little spot right on the end of your nose has some adipose tissue in it. And so the horse has a quite bigger amount of adipose. Am I even saying the word right? Anyway, of that tissue. It's the same thing whale blubber is composed of, and that is called the digital cushion. And that's right under the frog you see there, and up into the back of the coffin bone, which is up back in here. And so just like the end of your nose, if you were to put your fingers on your nose and you could move the tip of your nose around, there's nothing there to support it. Of course, there's no weight on it. It doesn't need any support. The tip of your nose and your nostrils, you can move it around um on the bone right there. Well, these horses, they have a self-grown shoe, and the back part of this shoe, let me get oh, where's the annotate? There we go. Okay, the back part, well, let's say then all the way up into here. along the cartilage above the hairline. Okay. All of this here inside is soft tissue that moves around just like the end of your nose. If it doesn't have the correct support, it will not maintain its basic shape and it will not function correctly. And so the back of this whole foot has to be a specific size to fit that internal foot. And depending on how this hoof capsule, the heels especially, are trimmed, got two dogs over here having a party. Hey, get down. Go there. They're having a party up here in my bed playing. Go away. Okay. So if if this is not configured specifically a certain way, it pulls that foot out of shape. Okay, now, so what you have going on then is you have a capsule that does not fit your foot. And so it's going to be pressing on things that it shouldn't. If your heel in reality right here is supposed to be back here and it's pulled that foot into a distorted shape, that means any bars you have, anything in here is going to be pressing on parts of the foot that it should not be pressing on. And it is like if you had a really super bare pair of not only bad fitting shoes that were too small, but they also had lumps and bumps that were digging into the bottom of your foot in places where they ought not. And so what happens is then when the hoof capsule does not fit right, when it's pulled the foot into a distorted shape in back, and when it's got the bars are distorted and they're growing into stuff on the bottom of the foot they shouldn't, it creates what's called a hot spot in the skin of the foot. Oh, hold on 1 second, please. Okay, well, sorry, had to answer that. Was the husband. All right, so I'm going to show you a few more pictures here. Just a minute here. Now, right here, we're looking at one picture of Restar's foot who has had 10 abscesses. Now, you could relieve one abscess where there had been pressure. These dogs, just a minute. Sorry. Sorry about that. Dogs are fighting over a bone. so so okay, where was I? So he's had 10 abscesses. Now you could relieve one abscess, but if you don't restore the hoof capsule to the size it is, or you don't get the amount of sole that like say there's an abscess here. Let's say you relieve it like where she's done right here. Okay. Well, the thing about it is this abscess actually could have been a lot bigger and it could have been even this big. Well, it probably was. See? It probably was actually way bigger than the little space here that she was able to cut out and get some relief when pus and stuff like that came out of it. But what happens is when you
His
have an
soul,
abscess, what?
his soul is so hard that I can't get it that far back
Yeah.
yet.
And so you know what that means? Probably
But
means it's dead. Probably just means it's dead retained soul, and you have other soul growing underneath. That could be a very good possibility, because
yeah,
what happens is, so the skin gets a hot spot, and
I
then it
almost
turns,
feel like using the hoof boss on it to get it out.
yeah. Well, as long as you're using a sanding disc and not you know, that chainsaw disc. You don't want to
Yeah,
use that. Okay. Because you're gonna get you could wind up getting very close to the corium. So what happens is the foot, because it's covered with skin, okay, and there's pressure that's not supposed to be in a certain area for one reason or other, usually because the capsule's too small, is that then it develops a blister. Literally, it develops a blister, and of course, it can't heal because it's covered up with hoof wall and it's still pressing into that part. And so then that blister pops and turns in, keeps getting pressure. It turns into a wound, a literal wound. And because all this is still on it in the same place, it gets no relief. Whenever that happens, the soul that was growing from that part of the soul corium becomes disconnected, like as if you tore a fingernail off. But it's still on the capsule, and like you don't even know it's there until you find a soft spot, or you may remove something and then pus comes squirting out. And so you could open it this much here, like she did right here, but in fact it could have been this big. And so what happens then is you never remove this part, and it keeps being an irritation. And so you keep getting abscesses and keep getting abscesses and keep getting abscesses, because you never get the fullness of the dead soul and the part of the soul that was disconnected off of the foot. And so I was telling her this, and I said, a lot of times what you'll find under here, you'll find a dirt line here, and you can start following, like you could take part of this off and you would find dirt under there. And then you would find that the horse was growing another soul. Because, see, when this piece becomes disconnected, even though it's not off the hoof capsule, then it's disconnected from the soul corium skin that grows it. Well, then the soul corium can start growing another soul underneath that. So you wind up having a double soul, one that's disconnected and actually dead, and then a live soul that's actually connected to the foot. But the disconnected dead soul that's still here will keep causing irritation, and you'll keep getting abscesses. So that's how that happens. Um, just a minute here. My dog is over here digging on my pillow trying to hide her bone. They can be so distracting. Did you find a place to hide that little stinker? Jeez. Okay, so
as I was cleaning out more yesterday, I have never seen another dart line ever.
okay. But did you find you told me something about finding more soul, or finding another soul.
Yes, I found more soul, fresh soul growing on the area that it has abscess that was already opened.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let's see. Okay, so I'm going to take and I'm going to show you an example. So I got to look that up, but we're going to look at some more pictures of him here real quick first. Let's see. There we go. Okay, then stop share for a second. Just a minute. And then I'll show you pictures of what I'm talking about. Hopefully I can find them. Let's see. That was paint. New share. Okay, so let's go back. Okay, so here's where she opened up an abscess. Now you might have got all of that down enough. Let's look at it. So that's where the abscess was. And you can see where she had to take out the sole so it could drain. Let's see
That
here.
that was last night's picture.
Was it?
Those
Okay.
are the detox pads.
Okay. Just a minute here. Let me get on there. Find. Okay. Okay, so here's an example of that area. And I think you've done a pretty good job of getting that opened up there.
New
So
share?
it can drain. Let's see. New share.
Thank you.
Lost. Share screen. Okay. So at this time, um, what she's doing is she's trying to get rid of distorted bar that's holding the heels so that the foot cannot expand because again, this horse is hoof bound. Jackie, do you have a picture of this horse's foot from the side? You can send me so I can show people how small the capsule
Yes, I
is.
do. I
Okay.
just had to find it again.
Okay. So you can see here where the abscess was, right in here. And so if you a lot of times these horses will have that and they won't have a soft spot. Okay. Um, the only way you might be able to tell is if you had hoof testers. And so a lot of times what happens is the dead sole remains on top of on top of what is then live sole growing in on the sole corium. Now he's starting, you relieved this a while back, so he's starting to grow sole right there. Is not that correct? Are you there?
Yes, there is.
Okay.
Correct.
Okay, so I gotta stop share for a second. Let's see. Oops. Wait a minute.
May I ask something?
Yeah,
Does vaccine infect also the abscesses
it could. You know, the
in
kind,
in 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 combination with distorted hoofs,
you know, that's a possibility. I'm not ruling that out. Uh, you
or
know,
maybe the worm medicine? You know what I mean?
yeah.
Anti-worm.
Well,
Maybe that in combination with distorted hoofs.
yeah.
It's
Um,
just an idea.
yeah, for sure that could happen. You know, the only problem I have with some of that is that those are the answers they give to us when they don't realize that the hoof capsule is really a shoe and that that horse has been foot has been formed into a deformed position with parts of that capsule growing and
Yeah,
laying over parts it should not be growing and laying over on. You
yeah,
know, so
absolutely
they
agree.
so they've come up and said, well, it's the vaccine, which,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
That's
the vaccine,
that's the fastest answer.
yeah. And
Yeah,
that's not to say that the vaccine couldn't aggravate it more or
There you
something.
go. There you go, Linda. I sent you 7 pictures of the right hind.
Okay.
That was taken on February 3.
Okay. Uh, let's see. Just a minute. Let's see here. Okay. Oh, just a second. I'm looking. Did you send it on update on red star, or is it on your, let's see, or is it
It's
under
on, it's under your name,
my name?
Linda Harris
Oh, oh,
Messenger.
oh, is it, oh, our personal messenger together?
Yes,
Okay. Why can't I find it? Just a minute. Hold on.
I don't know, but I sent it to you and it says that's delivered.
Okay. Okay, I got it. I don't know why it didn't show up first. Okay, see, this is looking better, and you said he wasn't laying down as much, so, you know, so is this current more the most? No, the most current was that one you just sent me, right?
New share, please.
Oh, sorry. Da, da,
Yes,
da.
yes, this February 3 is the most current
Okay.
picture. All 7 pictures of his hoofs, but the most current one of the sole is today.
Okay, this one that we're looking at now, when's that?
That one is February 3.
Okay. Uh, that one I was showing at the first, I can't remember. Is that a front or a hind?
That's the hind.
Okay, so we're all looking at the hind here.
Yeah,
Okay,
this is
so
all the right hind.
okay, so you can see that this hoof capsule is way too small for this foot. And you see how the bulbs are pulled way down. This area right here, which should be where the frog stay is, should be clear up here. And this frog should be pulled way back. And so these are false heels. And so he's got a shoe that's too small for his foot. And so when the bars grow, or when one thing that does, when it pulls all this cartilage and everything down here, it presses this up into the coffin joint, which forces the toe down on the sole. So the toe would be forced to be wearing right here. See? And so that in and of itself would cause an abscess because, again, there's pressure where pressure ought not to be because of the distorted hoof capsule and how it's affecting the foot. Okay. So, and this was the left. This was one of your worst. This was one of his worst feet, wasn't it? This and the front one. Let's see. Let me save image and go
The
bigger.
left front is his worst bound up hoof.
Okay. Okay. Well, hold on here. I just wanted to get a close up of that. Okay, so let me save the image on this so we can close up. So you can see how his bulbs are pulled down. He looks like he has heel from the side, but in the back you see his bulbs pulled down so that you know that his foot is bent and that the capsule is still too small. See, you have to look at different views. So just a minute, let me open this. Okay, so new share. Okay, so okay, you see this foot here. There is absolutely no frog stay because the whole foot, you see how hollow? Does everybody see how hollow this looks? And this is because the whole internal part of the foot here and the bulbs have been pulled down and sucked under and then pushed up into the coffin joint, which pushes the toe down onto the sole, which is probably why he's getting abscesses in his toe because of the pressure. Because this little area here should actually be up here. And this area here, this would be where the frog stay would grow, which is actually just the frog stay in reality is what grows in the central sulcus. And so this right here, this is false heel. This is not his real heels. And so his foot, his capsule is too small, and his foot has been distorted and deformed within the capsule. And so since the capsule don't fit, different parts are are creating pressure sores on his foot, just like it would with you if you were forced to wear a shoe that was 2 to 3 sizes too small, and was not just that, but also an old worn out shoe that was all had lumps and bumps and junk inside the sole internally, and just was rubbing against your foot and all kinds of different places. Say you would get blisters, and then because you can't take your shoe off, you're going to get a wound. And then because you can't take your shoe off, it's going to cause you great pain and limping, and you're not going to be able to relieve it. You'll just keep getting more sores, and it can't heal. And that's what's happened to this horse. So just a minute here. Okay, so here, now again, look at this foot.
I just sent you the left front again, so then you
Okay.
could show how bound up he was there.
Okay. So when you look at the back here, you see these bulbs pulled down here. Okay, this is not the real heel. Now let's look at a side view, more of a side view. Just a minute here. Okay, this was a side view. Now, you wouldn't think that was the same foot. This foot looks like it has some heel, but this is not real heel. This is like what Angeliki was talking about, how there are different kinds of foot. This is a horse, and she lives in a climate that will not allow you to put a barefoot trim on this horse and have it have that 30-degree hairline, because the climate is wet. And so every time it gets wet, then that periopal skin releases and the foot will come back up. It will draw back up. And so instead of having a 30-degree hairline down like this, what you have is the foot starts binding and getting shorter from here to here, because it curls in like this and under. So see, it looks again like it has heel, but this is false heel. This is actually sidewall in front of the real heel, because the real foot, well, and look at the cartilage here. See how it's pulled down?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the real foot.
So in my opinion of what I'm understanding from you,
Uh-huh.
know that he has false heels. I know that, but am I needing to have his heels 1 3/4 rather than 2 inches in order for that heel to come back and grow out?
No, that isn't going to work. It's just going to make him want to pull up again. See? So you've got to keep this high, because this cartilage, if you lower the heel, okay, yeah, it takes it back a little bit, but he's still going to want to stand up where he's at. And so all it's going to do is pull up and bind your foot more. It'll take this wall right here and it'll just pull it around. It'll keep pulling it around, and the hoof caps will keep getting smaller and smaller. So this part right here, in reality, should probably be more like that. Maybe not quite that much, but similar to that. These cartilages are pulled down like so, when they should be like here, up here. See? And they're not just pulled down. They'd be wrapped around inward like this and then covered over back here where you can't see it with the frog. Like so. So this hoof capsule is actually more like, it would be more like this. And even you can look here. See that area? See how it's pushed forward like this? See, because it's not supposed to be like that. It's supposed to be like this. But what's happened is all of this here, all of this tissue has been pushed up into here, into the back of this coffin joint. There's a joint right here. Just a minute. I get a different color. White for bone. So you got your I probably can't draw it very good, but you got that coffin joint here. Okay. However that goes. I can't draw it. However it is. This joint right here. Okay. All this stuff being pulled down like that is pushing forward on this joint right here. And that's why you see this kind of poochy area here. Okay. Now, because it pushes forward on this joint, these two joints, it makes this push up that way, and it makes this toe push down that way, which is right where you got your abscess, right? In the toe there. So,
Yep.
in order, and see, your frog is deformed, too. Your frog is deformed. Your frog is pushed forward and pushed wide and weird shaped because this horse, instead of being able to be barefoot trimmed where you take the heels out and then make the hairline like this, you'd have a foot that's shaped like this. Okay, this horse, these cartilages did not want to stay down here whenever those farriers and everybody else trimmed the heels out. And so what happened was the cartilage would pull back up, and as it did so, it took this part here of the hoof wall and it pulled it inward like that, and it spread out the back of the foot to pull the frog wide. So let me undo all this stuff. Let's see. Clear all drawings. Okay. So, it's foot binding like Chinese foot binding. His foot has been forced. It's even bent. Look at the hairline, the coronary band. See, this is bent down this way, pushing that into the joint, which is bending the foot down, the toe down this way. And so that's what's happening. And so the capsule is probably at least this much too small. So if your shoe was 2 sizes too small for your foot and you were forced to stand on your feet 24/7 and to live and walk in those shoes, what would eventually happen to your feet? What would happen on up going this way? See, it's really that simple. If your bars, if your heel buttress is supposed to be here and it's basically trimmed out, and the bars, that part of your foot that grows the bars now is bent up like this. Okay, but yet your bar, see, that bar is going to grow in a way that's going to push on parts of the foot it shouldn't be pushing on. So that's why these barefoot horses get these abscesses. And that's why the thing you have to do is learn to release the back of the foot. And with you, Anonymous, okay, you just didn't get enough help because it's hard, let's face it, this is a hard deal because you guys don't have enough help really to get some of these things done. I wish I could do more. Um, uh, because you didn't have enough help, you weren't able to do some of these things intact correctly in order to release and regrow. I mean, you're kind of strung out there on your own to try and figure it out. You know what I mean? And uh, that just doesn't always work for people. So, but now I'm helping you with the trim, get rid of some of the stuff on the bottom of the foot so your foot can expand. You know what I mean? So this is what we want to do. We want to start releasing this, making sure you're trimming the bars, changing the boundaries of the bar. Because look at this, folks. When the hoof capsule changes the formation of the foot, then everything that grows from the foot is growing in a different spot. And it binds and holds the foot right there. And so you have to learn to make different boundaries and start getting rid of stuff that will start to allow the foot to expand so that it can grow this capsule from a different location. And this is not an easy task, but it can be done. And we're learning more and more about how to do it. But ultimately, what I would like to do is to really train more people to know some of the things that I know better so that there would be more help for people, more one-on-one help. Like Anonymous here and I did, and I've done this with some other people where we do an e-trim, which all that is. Okay, I'm on either Zoom or Facebook Messenger, and they got the camera on and taking pictures of the foot, and I'll do a markup, and then I'll say, okay, you got to do this and you got to do that, and then they'll do it, and then they'll send me a picture, and I'll say, okay, that's better and that's helping and stuff like that. But see, people really need more support. And so it would be nice if we could have more people that really understood more of these things to be able to help people. But here's the thing, we're all we have. Okay, we do not have any experts to go to. Go to a farrier and try and get them to listen to you when you tell them not to trim out the heels. First of all, they don't even know they're trimming out the heels. They think they're just taking them back. Okay, so like you look at this, here's where this heel is. Okay, except even if you took it back to here, shortened it, because that's what you'd have to do right there. You haven't taken it back very much because look at, that's not going to make a difference at all. What it's going to do is make it worse because you see where the hairline is on this foot? This is where this foot wants to be on the whole horse. That's where the hairline's supposed to be. That's the kind of foot he's got. Okay, he's pulling up that way because his whole body and his whole foot tells him that's where it goes. Okay, and so you come in there trying to help him out by shortening it, you're going to make it worse. Okay, because then he's going to take what little sidewall he has here, which is just going to be this much. Okay, you just weakened the wall. And then he's going to twist that back around his foot, and you're going to wind up with a foot that's like this instead. He'll pull back up because he's got strong cartilages and you've got wet weather. And so it won't hold. And so then instead of having a foot that was let me get a different color here. Um, instead of having a foot that is, where is he at? That is this long, right here, see, you're going to have one that's this long, right here. See there? That's what happens. These horses were meant to stand up, okay, in the back. They were meant to have a hairline that, no kidding, is at about this angle. Right here where he's got it. That's where he wants to stand. That's why he keeps pulling up like that. Now, some horses, again, if you are in a dry climate, you might be able to get that barefoot trim to hold because the periopal is designed in such a way that it will contract and hold the foot there if it's dry. But as soon as you get any moisture, the foot releases. I mean, you've got so much pressure in this foot. It's unbelievable. You've got this foot being compressed and squeezed into a small container. And there is so much pressure in here when the horse is just standing still, let alone when he has to take a step. Holy cow. Because then this pastern wants to descend onto this and press on that digital cushion that's already has been forced into a smaller container. And so, yeah. So anyway, because you have ill-fitting hoof capsules, why you get abscesses, and you have to make new boundaries. You also have to learn. People get all, oh, I don't want to take out any sole. Well, let me show you something here. Okay, so here's your horse's foot right here. Or well, let me do this. Let's redo this just a minute. Clear all drawings. Okay, let me find a picture here to explain to you why you need to learn to clean up the sole and thin it down. Okay? Like not necessarily overly, but you see, you have to make new boundaries for everything because that foot is a certain size. It has a certain number of horn tubules. And what do you think happens when you take and you put it in a smaller hoof capsule? Like let's say this is a horn tubule here on the bottom of foot. Okay, here's your inner foot. That's an ugly foot, but whatever. Okay. And these are your little horn tubules here, little horn tubules, feeding tubules of the sole. Okay, but you compress that foot into this size here. Okay, then what happens? It puts all these closer together, like so. They were spread out before, but now they've all been compressed real close together. And then the sole grows and the sole is more compressed. And it's connected to this foot, and this foot cannot expand if you leave a bunch of compressed and even sole that should have been exfoliated. Your foot cannot move. It is bound in this capsule. However deformed this capsule get and it grows, the deformed bars in the wrong spot, the sole super thick and compressed where, like, if you were looking at the bottom and the horn tubules would have been spaced like this, now they're like this. See? They're all bound together. And so that just glues that foot together. So you have to learn how to kind of sand out and exfoliate that sole and take out enough to where the foot can kind of expand without becoming disconnected from the sole that's there. Because you don't want your foot to, like, let's say, take this foot. Let's say if you were to totally remove too much periopal and frog and the foot, then it got super, super, super wet. for a period of time, this foot being under pressure in here in too small a capsule and held by the periopal might just decide, hey, I'm going to expand. Hey, there we have the story of who, Simone? You know,
Of Dodo.
yeah, that's what happened to Dodo and stuff. So what we're learning to do after having learned to hoof bind and make tiny feet for our horses, practice Chinese foot binding on our horses, is we're learning how to grow it back and let everything gradually expand so that the foot has something to expand into, you know. And I did that with my horse over a period of years and came to understand a lot of this. So let me redo this here. Clear all my drawings. All right, so let's see here. Hold on.
Yeah, Linda, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I have to leave. It's quite late here in Germany.
Oh, okay. That's
Thank you so
okay.
much. And yeah, good night to everybody.
Good night. You're
Good
the
night.
best.
Good night.
Night. Bye-bye.
Okay, well, let's see here. Anyway, does anybody have any comments to what I'm telling you? Are you kind of understanding what I'm trying to say here?
Kind of, I think.
Kind of, I think. Okay. Okay. Okay, well, do you understand the concept of having too small a shoe on your foot and how that might cause sores and blisters and wounds?
Absolutely.
Okay, then you're understanding. Okay. Because that's what happens to these horses with the barefoot trimming, where they're always, and with the farriers always saying, they take the heels back, like, okay, here's his heel, and they think they got to take it back to here, okay, because they think that gives them a wider base. And so then when the horse's this so-called heel is on the ground, it seems like, oh yeah, they've taken it back. But every time you take the foot back, what do? You're trimming out this much of the foot. And then what are you doing? You see how the horn tubules are on this horse, because he wants to keep standing up. Okay, but what usually happens then when you set this foot down, this horn tubule here is going to be at this angle, like that. And so if it's at that angle, it's going to want to grow forward even more, and it will grow forward and push the toe forward, and you get a flared toe, is what happens, because this foot wants to stand up here. And so what happens is then you have a situation where the foot is pulling one way and the capsule's wanting to go the other way. And that's how you can start laminitis as well, because the capsule's pulling in the opposite direction of the foot. So let's see here. Let's see. It's all structural and mechanical, every single bit of it. You're dealing with two objects, a shoe and a foot that's on the inside of that shoe. And so when a horse is trimmed wrong, a series of structural and mechanical situations start happening that lead to all of this. Okay, so I'm going to show you. See, I really need to take and put a thing together with pictures that'll help you understand more. Just looking at this foot, me and explaining it doesn't always do it. The thing you have to remember though is this is temporary. This is a temporary container. It's always growing and growing off. Okay. The one you have today won't be the one you have 7 to 8 months to a year from now. It's temporary. What's on the inside is permanent. It's the actual part of the horse. You know, it's a difference between your hair and your head. your fingernail and your finger. See, your hair is continually growing and exfoliating and falling out. Your fingernails are continually growing, though they're you need them, you use them, they have a purpose, but they grow off. Okay, so with the hoof capsule, only the purpose of the hoof capsule is to replace the shoe that's on your foot. So you want a shoe that's going to fit your foot. And that's what we're doing here in TACT. We're trying to understand what is the true internal foot. So let's look at an internal foot a little bit here, so we can be reminded of what we are really dealing with, the real foot that you're dealing with. Let's see here. Just a second. I gotta unannotate. Hold on. Ooh, wait a minute. Let's see. Clear all
Okay,
doors.
does that look like what his foot is, what it was just drawn for you?
What? I missed that. Sorry about that. What did you
Okay,
say?
I drew a picture with a red line on my horse's hoof,
Okay.
and I just wanted to ask you, is that correct what you're seeing on his inner hoof?
Okay, let me go look. Just a second.
I can always redraw it.
Okay. Just a second. I'm going to Facebook to look at whatever picture you drew there, dear.
I drew it right here off of Zoom.
You did? Where?
Yes, I did not even have it off of the other thing.
See, well, just a minute. Were you drawing on that one I had on there?
Yes,
Well, I wound up getting rid of it. I didn't know
yes,
that.
you did.
Sorry about that.
It's okay.
Okay. Okay, you invaded my space. I didn't know you were annotating. So go to your pictures and get a picture and do that same thing. And then I'll look at it. Okay? Okay, here. Okay, so here's that foot again. The right foot, and you can see how small the hoof capsule is. And again, this foot has had 10 abscesses. Okay, just a minute here.
No, this foot had 8 abscesses, the
Oh,
right
8.
hind. The
Oh,
left had 2. The right front had 1.
oh, okay, so all together. Okay, I see. So, but this is the worst foot, 8 abscesses. Okay, just a minute here. Okay, hold on. I gotta open something here. Just a second. C, D, E, F, G, H, I. Inner foot. Okay. Okay, well, here's a good example. I'll open that one. No. Okay. Do. Just a second here. New share. Okay. Now I gotta find where I'm at. Hold on. Okay, so here you can see how pulled down the cartilage is. Just a minute. Get it in a bigger format. How small the capsule is. Just a minute. New share. Okay, so let me annotate. Okay, so you see how this cartilage is pulled down like that? And you see how the hairline goes down like that. Okay, so this cartilage that is down like this should be like, let me show you. Well, it should be, this here should be clear up here. Up here. This cartilage that goes down like that should go more like that. That seems crazy because we're so used to seeing this so distorted back here. And I probably have it a little too long, or maybe not. Okay, again, you can see where this bump is. This bump, that's because the joint is being pushed forward. Because if this tissue here is supposed to be here, but I push it down like that, what happens to everything in front of it? It gets pushed up into this because you see how it's being pulled into a smaller container? That means that everything on the back of this capsule that was here is now laying on the foot here, in the place where it's not supposed to be. And that's what's creating problems. And the toe is pushed down. You can see the kind of the growth rings there, kind of funny looking. But so now a capsule that was supposed to be this big is this big. See there? So what's that doing to the foot? Remember, this is just a fingernail. That's really all it is. You know, if I could had really long nails and I bent it way down, how would it affect my finger? See, just things like that. So I'm going to go find this video where I take out sole that has become detached. Just a minute. Well, actually, there wasn't an abscess when I got there. So let me go find this. Just a second.
There, I'm done drawing on my hoof and I just sent it back to you.
Okay, let me go find it here. Just a second. Okay. Shut that. Get in here. New shoe. Do. Okay. Okay. What are you drawing me? Here, just a minute.
The sensitive lamina, the interfoot.
Oh, okay. Um,
As you can see the heel is bit under.
yeah. Um, I don't know if that's exactly where it would be, but okay. Do you see, at least though, do you see why you would not want to shorten the heel from
Yes,
what it,
and
okay, well, I'm just telling you, my advice would be not to shorten that because it's not the real heel and it's not going to do anything but make it worse. Okay. So, yeah, that's, you know, I think it's a little, I don't think it quite fits, but some of it's close, hun. But yeah, you do not want to shorten the heel. You don't necessarily want it any longer, okay? But what's going to happen is because you have changed the boundary on those bars, the back of this foot is going to be able to release some of this now so that it can grow in some more capsule. See, because you've got a foot that needs to be released up here so that it can grow in more capsule that will, let's see, let me annotate, that will allow this to come up more back here and grow in to where, okay, your hairline will wind up coming back here. So see, you've got this much capsule to grow in back there. And so if you take the heel down, it's not going to do it. It's just going to make the foot go do worse. And it's going to actually cause this to be pulled around and the foot made smaller, because see, that's what happened. Keep taking this heel down here like this. The foot wants to stand up where it's at. That's the way it was designed to be, up here, not down here. And so when you trim the heel out, then it wants to stand up. It pulls up and it will take this sidewall that you have now made smaller, and it will literally pull it around behind to where finally it keeps pulling around behind. And this is your heel that you have here. Just a minute. Oh, I need another color. Hold on. We use red. Your heel that should be here, the heel buttress that's right here, the real heel buttress. Okay, what you have here, you see where the false heel is? This is the sidewall of the capsule that is right here. This is sidewall right here. Your real capsule is here. You're missing this much of the size of that capsule, and that foot has been pulled into capsule this size. You see? And so if you take any of this down, because this foot wants to be up here, it will just take this like it did this, and it will just pull it around. It'll just pull it around in, like so. Do you understand what I'm saying? Because I've been showing how this happened. You know, we had a gal, I'll show you just a minute here. Well, let me take that off there. Do. See, and this horse has very strong cartilages, so they don't get pulled down to the ground and stay there. They stretch up and they pull the sidewall of the capsule inward. So they make heel. They make false heel. His feet make false heel. Let's see here. Okay, where was it? It's under cartilages. Oops. A, B, C, A, R. A second. Okay. New share. Okay, you see this foot here? Anonymous, you still there? Hello?
Yes, I am. Just my computer is not working right when I am mute.
Okay, you see this horse here? He had a foot like
Yes.
Chester. He had a foot like Chester. That means this hairline here was clear up here. See that with a lot of heel? And this gal misunderstood something about how we trim, and she totally trimmed the heels out of this horse completely. I was freaking out. And so I explained what had been done wrong. And I asked her I was afraid the horse is going to blow a tendon. So I asked her to take pictures the next 3 or 4 days. Okay. Now I want you to see how the horse made heel. Look at the cartilage here. Okay. Now imagine it's up here and the hairline is up here. This horse's foot doesn't want to be down here. It was not designed to be down here. Everything in this foot should be like, let me find an example. Hold on. A, B, C. Okay. Everything in this foot should be more like this horse here. See that? Up here. See the hairline? Up here. See the cartilage? Up here. Okay. So she took and she trimmed off that much heel right there. And so now that horse is sitting with his hairline clear down here. When his foot and your horse's foot, the cartilage wants to be up here. Just like your nose, your ear wants to be where it is. Your nose wants to be it is. You can take your finger and shove your nose over the side of your face. But where does it want to be anatomically? Okay? It wants to be up here because that is the inner foot. So, just a minute here. Look at something else here real quick. FGHI. Okay. A second here. Okay. Look at this foot. Here's the inner foot right here. Okay. This is the inner foot. Look where the cartilage is, up here. Look where the coronary band is, up here. Okay. It wasn't meant to, let's see. I need to annotate here and get a different thing here. Well, stamp. I don't want to stamp. I don't want to spotlight. I just want a line, you stupid thing. Draw. Okay. Here we go. Okay. See where the hairline is? Wasn't meant to be down here. Ever. Ever. Not on any horse ever born. It was meant to be up here. And so what are you doing when you're doing barefoot trimming? They're trying to get a hairline like that. They put that image in everybody's mind. And so they keep taking the heels off. Well, this foot doesn't want to be down there. So it's got a capsule on it, and I'm forcing it down like this. Well, it always wants to stand back up. And so when you force it down like that, the foot itself, you've got a capsule shape like this, see? And it's pulled this part of the foot here down like that. It's pulled this cartilage. It's compressed the digital cushion, which is fat on the inside. So when you have a capsule shape like this, everything in the foot, in the horse, in every part of the body wants this hairline and the back of this foot to be up here. See? Everything. It's pushing from the inside. It's pulling from the leg, everything. And so Now, if you have a dry climate and you're gradually doing it, it'll force down and that periople will bind it right there. But if you have a wet climate like you do, then you can lower the heel. But as soon as it gets wet and this periople that grows here attached to the hoof capsule leg, that foot wants to pull back up anyway. As it does so, as it pulls back up, it takes this part right here of the wall and it pulls it around behind it and it pulls it up and it makes it look like it has heel. But see, this is all cartilage right here. And it pulls all this around behind, and then you wind up having a hoof capsule that looks like this, see? But this part of the foot, I don't know why it's doing that. What happened to this part of the foot? Well, this part gets wrapped around behind, or, well, yeah, this part gets wrapped around behind. Looks like you have heel though, doesn't it? But that's not real heel. Your real heels have been bent up and then this part's been curled around inward. And so if you come in there and you think, well, I'm going to take the heels back because that's going to help the horse, what's that going to do? Okay, you've cut off this part here. Okay, but what does that do then? Come on, you stupid thing. What? It's messing with me. Just a minute. You've cut this down here, but what's it do to this hairline again? It pulls this part of the foot that it's attached to and grown from, it pulls it down again. Just like that. So now your foot is shaped like this. Now what happens? Well, this happens. It pulls, the foot wants to stand up. The hairline wants to stand up here again. And this time, it makes your foot even shorter. You stupid thing. And it does this number. See, it does this. Oh, well, gee, got even smaller hoof capsule now. See, it'll pull all this around behind it, and you just keep getting a smaller hoof capsule because all of this is cartilage and fat and can be bent in many different directions. And it's being compressed into this tiny capsule. And of course, it's creating all this pressure, and then people start getting abscesses and everything else. So do you kind of understand how that works now? Look at here.
Yes, I do.
Okay. Okay. It's like we found out almost by on accident. It was probably divine design, though. I'm telling you, this whole thing has been by divine design. Because I ain't smart enough to figure this out. Okay, so let's see here. Let me undo this. Clear all drawings. And let's look at this foot again. New share. Right here. I'm going to show you it did it to this horse. We saw it do it in 3 days. Okay, so she took the heels completely out of the horse, pulled the hairline clear down to the ground. See these bulbs here? They're supposed to be up here. This horse, everything in his foot wants, these cartilages want to be up here. That's where they were designed to be. That's anatomically correct. Okay. Over several days' time, well, looky here. Look at the difference in the shape. Look how they're raising up. See, this piece of wall right here, as the foot pulled up, it pulled this, first of all, the periople stretched right in here, and it started pulling the capsule inward like that. It starts to make heel. By the time you get a couple days later, look here, it's made heel. But this is not the real heel. What's actually happening is it's distorting this back part of the capsule. It's stretching the periople and it's pulling the side wall behind it. So as the cartilage is wanting to be up where it was supposed to be. Just like your nose wants to be in the middle of your face. If you put your finger on it and you pull it to the side, it's constantly pulling on your finger. It's never going to let up. And so as you let up with your finger, your nose goes back to the middle of your face. Well, this cartilage wants to be up, 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 up. Period. Period. These hairlines were meant to be high in front and high behind. Never, ever, 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 ever were they supposed to be like this. Ever. That is a deep. So what do they have us doing? Now, why don't horses transition to barefoot? Well, because you're trying to transition them into something they were never meant to be to begin with. They were never, ever meant to have a hairline like this. You are crushing the foot. You are forcing the cartilages down. And so you have two different reactions. One, if it's dry, the hairline will kind of stay down like that. But if there's any moisture at all, the periopal will loosen, just like your skin loosens when you get it wet. You know, if you want to get calluses off your feet, you got to soak your feet and get them soft, right? And so the periopal gets soft. That foot, it wants to pull up. It's under such tremendous pressure. From the tendon going up the leg, that wants that foot to be up here. The cartilage is being forced down. It's pulling up. The whole thing's being compressing the digital cushion. It's pushing out, you know. And so here you see in 3 days how a horse made his own supposed heel.
Linda,
Yeah.
if you look at the black spot on the hairline right near the heel, you can see how it pulled around to the back by that 3rd day. Look at that black spot right on the
Oh,
hairline.
yeah. Look at that.
See how it moved.
Yeah. Look at that. It was right here. And then it was up here. And then it was, yeah.
Look at how far it moved.
Yeah, it did. Not only up, but as
Wrapped
the
around.
whole thing was rounded out. Yeah, like the distance from here to here. Right there. Well, here, I'm going to draw it. See, I never noticed that part. Okay, so just a second here. Make it a little thinner. There we go. Okay, so here's the back spot, right here. And here's the distance right there. Here's the black spot still. And here's the distance. And now here's the black spot. I did not notice that part before. I noticed how it seemed to come up, but not that. That's pretty cool. Thanks, Marilyn.
Welcome. I don't think it's a difference in camera angle. I've been looking at it ever since you put that on the screen.
Yeah, no, it's not, because look at the difference in the shape of the cartilage. See, it kind of rounded it there. See, I'm so glad that we have this example, because this really explained a lot. You know, like our bodies are designed a certain way. That cartilage is there to keep the form of a piece of anatomy, you know. And so, learning what this cartilage should be shaped like has been very beneficial. Okay, so now you could wind up where every time they took the heels down on this horse, the next time the foot's going to be this big and the cartilage going to be turned around to there. In fact, this piece here will move on behind and you won't even see it. Eventually, it could have that much trimmed out and all of this moved around and the cartilage, trimmed down to there. You see that all the time. See? And you could even wind up with the high hairline where it was clear up here and the situation's right. So, okay. So anyway, so you see, so you got a foot in there, which, just a minute, clear all drawings. Let me close this. So you got a foot in there with the parts of the capsule continually infringing on other parts of the foot. And parts of the anatomy that were back here being pulled in and shoved onto parts of the anatomy that are in here. So you just get all this different movement of the foot being deformed and having a shoe that don't fit and all those different kinds of things. And so it's no wonder there'd be abscesses, right? Sores, soreness, everything like that. It's not about thin sole. Okay. Now, a lot of times they don't have any, they have thin soles too, but it's a lot about way more than a thin sole. See, it's about how the whole foot is being deformed and compressed into a smaller capsule by this barefoot process of lowering the heels to look like a popular method or a popular example that was put into everybody's head. Put into my head. I kept trying to get this on my horse, and he kept pulling up constantly, and but I kept trying to get that 30-degree hairline on him, and so his hoof capsule just kept getting smaller and smaller. And I have 16 years to document exactly how it happened. I've got every picture of every trim at a minimum of 5 weeks or less for 16 years. So, you do start to notice patterns. And since I was told that barefoot trimming was so great and it was natural and it was going to give your foot like a wild horse, and I had been around wild horses, so I knew how they were, then I hook, line, and sinker swallowed that. So when my horse started not being sound, I started wondering why. And that's what led to all this. See, when my horse went from loving to run to not loving to run, I'm going, why? Why is this going on? See, because this was supposed to work. So obsessed for 2 reasons. One, I know that wild horses can go without shoes. I am sold on the idea. 2, now I've broken it, I've got to fix it. See, you know how we're all fixers, right? Otherwise, none of us would be here. That's why we're here. It's broken. It's my child. I've got to fix it. I'm responsible for it. I love it. It's broken. I've got to fix it. That's why we're here. And that's why I wound up learning all this stuff. I got obsessed. Literally. Yeah, I got obsessed with wanting the answers, wanting the truth. There was a contradiction here. Don't be contradicting. I know there's a lie in there somewhere if there's a contradiction. See? So, okay, so that's just an example of how it happens. Let's see here. New share. And so here's your foot. Look at the heel here. No way. They all have the same kind of foot. Different size. That's it. They all are supposed to have heel. They all are supposed to have a high hairline. And so that's why we use DIM in supporting a foot where the heels have been totally trimmed out, so we can support that foot up where it's supposed to be, so that it will stop pulling that foot around behind itself and things like that. So we can, even though it's not right, it's in too small a capsule, at least we have that hairline kind of supported up so that it's not pulling down on the tendons and the cartilage as much and stuff like that. So let's see here. So here's just an example that I simulated this. Okay. Here's how the foot is supposed to be. It's not supposed to be pulled down. This is pulled down and around. See, now it could get, because your foot is cartilage to here, the bone ends about here. This is all cartilage. This can all be flattened out and pulled around and under as well. So just some examples I was making of how this happens. See, played around a lot with this stuff, trying to figure out how it happens. See there, this little piece here of the coronary band, this is where your real buttress grows, right here. And so that's just a little piece that can be easily smashed down like that or wrapped around the foot. See there? How much has that shortened up your foot? Just that right there. See it? So then you don't have the real foot. Now, this was Molly's foot, my mare that I trimmed the heels out of. And she wouldn't really take on that because we're in Kansas. They won't take on the 30-degree hairline here. They want to keep pulling up because of the moisture. You know, it's been raining in Arizona. Okay. And there's a real popular barefoot guru over there. And so I was talking to this one lady, and she said, yeah, she's got all these farriers coming in after him because now that it's raining, all these horses' feet are falling apart. And when I was there to see my mom, we went to this thoroughbred rescue place, and this lady had, I don't know, 8 or 9 horses in this big arena. She had kind of a lean-to barn there for them to get out of the weather and stuff, and it was sand. They fed them hay. Anyway, and she's telling me how good their feet were. And then later, we're looking at another horse who was like a horse that had sold for one of the highest selling yearlings ever in the thoroughbred industry, who is a total cripple now. And we were looking at his feet, and I was saying how they could possibly be fixed, but you'd have to keep them moist. Because, see, you got to keep them moist so they can expand. That's why we do foot soaking. And she goes, just after telling me how great the feet were and all these other horses and how they didn't have any problems, then she says, oh no, when it rains, all the horses out there in the arena get lame. You know, see, that's why I say this works in a dry climate because it's the periopal that is holding this down and in and keeping the hoof capsule from coming off. But when it gets wet, then that periopal gives and the foot releases. And so the horse can become lame when that happens, or, unsound, sore-footed. So that's why in Mr. Jackson's book, he says, oh, wild horses don't like water. They don't like to get in the water. They like to stay up where it's dry. Well, what about, has anybody seen all these pictures, these wild horses? Man, they love water. There's, what is it, Sand Creek wild horses or something like that. Man, them horses got tremendous feet and they are in the water all the time. But they've got a high hairline like this. Say, horses that get in water whose feet are already distorted, well, then the reality hits of what you really got there. Okay, so anyway, so I'm going to show you something here, and then we'll end this for now. But Jackie, or Anonymous, didn't use your last name. Are you understanding more of why your horse has problems? Are you there, Anonymous?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I am here, and yes, I am understanding it better.
Okay. Because that's what it's going to take, because otherwise you could make a wrong decision. You understand? It would seem logical. Well, I'll take the heel down because that'll, whatever, bring the heel back more or whatever. But in reality, it would be the incorrect thing to do. It would make a worse situation. Now, once the feet get going and you've got some more size to the capsule, we do a thing where we reset the heel, where we do take it down a little more. But that's after we already have some more capsule at size to the foot and release of the cartilages and more hoof capsule in. Then you can do that without it affecting and uh, making a smaller capsule. We reset the heel also because by that time, uh, well, that foot has been able to expand. Okay, so let's see here. Pictures. I'm going to show you. I'm going to try and show you. Oh, these horses, just a minute. Oh, man, OP Prince. Yeah, it wasn't him. John. Jack. Nope, that ain't it. Okay. I'm looking for these videos I did of taking when these horses had another sole growing under a sole that had become detached. Just a minute. Word. Prince. Okay. If I was hoping I could find them. Just a minute here. Close that. It's not that one. Hold on. I might not be able to find them. Apologize for that. Let's see. Sunny False Soul. I think I found it. Grinder. Okay. I think I found some pictures I could show you that are similar to your horse. Um, Let me see. Okay. Just a second here. Okay, new share. Okay, so this horse got foundered and from going too long without a trim. His toes got real long, and so the sole was stretched forward, the and so he had what seemed like an abscess right here from that. And okay, so when I say dirt line, you see this here? Okay, you see how this is similar to your horse? Right there. That was sole, and there was actually more that came out like in here. But this is what happened is that the sole got stretched and pulled away from the toe. And so it became an abscess. And so then that part of the sole that was had the abscess under it was removed. And he was put in boots with pads and socks too to grow all this back. And so he had started growing more sole, a new sole here. Let me see what else is here. You can see it there. And this was on both front feet that this happened. And so I shortened up I brought back the toe some and the wall, and I made boots for him that he wore. I like to use socks too, so I put socks over their feet and I put, pads in there so that he could grow sole back over that area right there. So you can see he's got some founder rings. And you can see here. Now, didn't you have a picture like that too? Anonymous, are you there?
Yes, I'm still here, and yes, I had that kind of frog on the left front,
Mm-hmm.
and it took a while to clean up, but I did get it cleaned up.
Okay. Okay, this is the other foot. Okay, you see how thin that was, and that was there. And so I had to find out how much of this sole is actually detached. Because see, like I say, they can get an abscess, and the foot can look normal, even, but then if they develop a hole or part of that sole that is dead or detached, and there'll be new sole growing underneath it, comes loose, well, then because they're in the dirt gets up in there. And that's what I mean by dirt line. You follow the dirt line. If the dirt line stops, then you stop. But you cannot just leave a big clump of dead sole on there necessarily. Now, if you got some sole starting under there, you can leave it for a short period of time, but eventually you're going to have to get that off of there, or it's just going to harm the sole that's growing in because it becomes a trap. Okay, see what I mean by dirt line? Like this wound up going, I can't remember now where all it went, but clear up, all that was loose and dead and had new soul. You can see the new soul growing in there.
Must have been kind of scary to be cutting that off, though, wouldn't it?
Well, yeah, it is. It's the first time, well, other than I had a piece on Valor on one foot that I found at one time. But on him, it was. Okay. And anyway, you can and sometimes you'll have a whole false bar. Okay, the whole bar has become detached and there's a new bar growing underneath it. And so you have to be able to figure that out, okay, and trim that away because that it's got a new bar. It looks like the regular normal bar, but in reality, it's detached and there's a new bar growing underneath it. Let's see. See, okay, you see here what I do. I put him in his boot. I have a pad under there and a kind of a poultice, and then I put socks over it. See, now when you start exploring there, you find that the dirt runs clear up into here and that all of this is sole. He's got a new sole growing on the foot underneath there. There he is. Such a nice little horse. Well, I think we're back to the beginning. So let's see here. Close out some windows.
I'm still here.
Okay. Okay, so let me back up. Screen sharing has closed. Okay, well, just let me see if so I went back every week and I trimmed some more out that had become detached. I put him back in boots to protect him because the sole is thin, right? Um, and he come out of it really good. He grew all his sole back. But what happens if you don't even know that that's going on? Well, the old sole is just going to affect the new sole, because there isn't always a hole there to tell you that something's up, you know. Um, just a minute here. Now I think I lost those. Let's see. NOP, STUV. Well, I lost where I had those. Just a minute. Close that. Close that. Close some of these pictures. Goodness. Anyway, somewhere I've got videos of all of that every week, what I did. And yeah, it was scary. Uh, but I came to learn that if you're, gently trimming that away, you can trim away until there's no more dirt line. See? And then you stop and then if they need protection because the sole is thin that's growing in, then you put protection on them, you know. Um, let's see. Anyway, Let me see if I can find this again. Honey's false sole, Queenie, Sunny Prince, inner foot, Chester. Libraries, extension D. I'm looking for those pictures again. Okay, that's the wrong one. Prince and Sunny, Sunny Falls Soul. Okay, I think. Oh, wait a minute. Yep, already showed those. So. Oh, now who's calling? Okay. Oh, to do. Sunny, Valor, Prince. Sorry, this is taking long. I'm trying to figure out where these are. Prince and Sunny. Okay, here's before. This is before that. So when it wasn't, this is before those pictures that you just saw.
New share?
Yeah. Okay, so this was a few weeks before. And this is what I found there. So,
Was he sore at that time?
yes, he was. Yeah, because I couldn't see. This is just when I'm kind of finding it here. So you can tell he'd had an abscess there. And you could see it at the top too.
So that one blew out at the top?
Yeah. So I just started cleaning up the foot there. And you're unsure what to do necessarily, you know. He had a good tight white line, so that was good. You can see the ring. Keep going here. Well, there he is. So that's when I first found it. And he didn't want to stand on that foot. So I did that foot first and let him stand on his other foot. Because, see, I tried to do the other foot first and he wouldn't stand on that foot. And so I went and I did that foot. And after I took the leverage off the toe, then he would stand for me to do the other foot. So, okay, so anyway, was not sure what to do with that time. I think that's where I learned though that I could see how I took more out. Let me go back because as I said, I was unsure of what to do there, but then I saw the dirt line. I just barely kind of touched into that and I saw the dirt line and I realized I could take out a bit more right there. And I didn't take, first I just took a little out here, but you see, this is all loose under here and there's dirt under there. And sometimes it might come out, but I think a lot of times it doesn't come out. And then the horse just keeps getting more and more abscess, one abscess right after the other. So I took out a little more here. See where I took that out? And I found this underneath. I found sole growing underneath. So what happens if that sole, that dead sole that's just laying over this new sole, never gets taken out? What if it just, you don't have a hole, that it just looks normal? Then it's going to create another sore on this part of the foot because it shouldn't be there, or it could, you know, and it wound up being rather large. And I still, there was still more back here. And if you remember on the other deal, the whole bar, almost the whole side of this sole here wound up being having sole growing underneath it, had been detached from the founder, mechanical founder, whatever it was.
Linda,
Yeah.
how did you explain this? When I trimmed Red Star's hooves, he did not have any holes at all. But
Mm-mm.
as soon as I trimmed his hooves, then that pussy, bloody stuff came out.
Okay. Yeah, because you thinned it down enough to where it could release. See, before there's just so much there, so much excess sole, dead sole on top of it, that it could not be released. Okay, so anyway, so that is pretty much all I did. But I can tell even from looking here now that there's probably more up in here, which I came back in a week and worked on that. Yeah. Okay, here's the other foot. See, both feet, both front feet had that. And so it wound up being up into here. And I think maybe this is the one that had the bar issue. Okay, can you see how there would be dirt under between there? See? Because it's just a capsule growing off that foot. So if something becomes irritated or inflamed, and then it develops a blister on the skin, it detaches the sole, and there's an abscess under there. And but yet the sole will stay on the foot. The sole will stay on the foot, unless you find a hole, unless you find the soft spot, or if they take, a lot of times, see, that's why they have a hoof tester, because you could have a pretty thick sole, but when you press on it with that hoof tester, it tells you there's that horse is sore there, and that's where they'll go to pair out the sole to see if there's an abscess. Anyway, anyway, uh, Anonymous, does this help? Is this helping you understand a little more what's going on with this feet? Hello, are you still there? Anonymous, yoo-hoo.
Yes, I am. I was in the kitchen.
Oh, okay. So you see how this is similar to what you got going on there? Except this horse's hoof capsule, he didn't get it for that reason, the same reason that you got. Okay. He got it because he went way, way, way too long without a trim, and his toes got really, really long. And it's mechanical founder.
Mhm. Well, Red Star went for about 4 months before trimming, and with his right hind since July 2023, so it was too long. So apparently them not being trimmed once a month that
That
caused
too.
all the
Yeah.
my mind.
Yeah, and that can do that too, you know, and stuff. But he's also got the problem of too small a hoof capsule, which needs to be fixed and everything. But you're getting those opened up and getting that kind of thinned out so it can release, and any abscesses, it's the same thing if you have a sliver or something and it gets all swollen and it's really sore, but then as soon as you pop it and the pus comes out, you get the sliver out, it gives you relief. Same principle. So anyway, that's all we have for today. And hope you understand a little bit more about abscess. Let me show you this one last picture. I wish I could have given more examples of internal feet. Man, everything takes so long. Just a minute here. Let me find the picture. A meme I made on it, or an illustration. I would call it an illustration that I posted last week. Just a minute here. Where are the pictures? Pictures and pretty sure I put it under A for abscess. Oh, God. Time to do some more picture organizing. What is going on? B, A. I might not be able to find it. Just a minute. A, N, A, I, A, C. Oh, for crying out loud. My pictures are just a mess. I can't find it. I posted it on the group. But it's the same as how you get a sore on your foot and it won't heal because you don't get rid of the pressure, or your shoe ain't fitting right or something like that. So, okay, well, that's all for today. And everybody have a great week, and we will meet here next week. And that's all I have to say. Kind of anticlimactic in there.
Thank you so much.
Hey, well, you guys have a great week. And I've decided I'm going to, and God bless us all, okay?
Amen.
Okay, amen. Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye.